Hey everyone, good morning. It's Danny Batsalkin here. I want to thank you for being on our broadcast and our show today. I'm so excited today, you guys. If you've been following all of our feeds, we've been pumping this up big time because I couldn't be more excited today to have a really special guest on. And what a great week to do it, Thanksgiving week. Today we have Tasha Danvers on the show, and Tasha's a two-time Olympian, won the bronze medal in the Olympics in the 400-meter hurdle. So I am super excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and welcome Tasha to the show now. And there we go. The tech work. Hey, Tasha, how you doing?
Hey! Hi, it's so much fun to be here. I really appreciate you having me on, Tony.
Yes, we are so excited. Now, some of you might be thinking, this is a real estate show, so why is Tasha on? She doesn't sell real estate or do anything like that. But I have to tell you, and for those of you that have been following my coaching and my training programs, that, in real estate, if you want to be successful, especially in today's market, you got to think like a professional athlete. You have to train properly. You got to get ready. You got to have the right mindset. And so there's no one better to bring on to talk about that than Tasha. So again, Tasha, thanks for being on the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really
appreciate it.
So Tasha, I'm going to dive right in as kind of a sports nut and a former college athlete, but nothing close to your level. I just want to dive right in and have you tell us about your Olympic experience and winning a bronze medal and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. Well, I did start out as a youngster, and believe it or not, I wasn't that good when I was young because I was trying a lot of events that really weren't suitable for me. But once I found the hurdles, it kind of just built on itself. I wasn't one of those kids who's like, one day I want to be an Olympian. It wasn't like that in the beginning. I just built and built. I had fun with it. And the next thing I know, I'm at the Sydney Olympic Games. So that was my first Olympics in 2000. I made the final there, which was great. I was, I think at the time, the second British person to ever make an Olympic final. 4 years later, I had my son, so I missed Athens. And no, I did not call him Olympia. His name's Jaden. And then in 2008, I made a comeback from the having my son and was fortunate enough to have achieved a bronze medal.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations on that. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I did read that you went to SC, so you're local here in Southern California.
Right on. Yes, they dragged me across the pond from London to be a scholarship athlete at USC, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's awesome. I know we have a lot of SC fans. I am your rival because I went to Arizona, so Pac-12 rival over here. But that's okay. I wanted to go to SC. I wanted to go to SC growing up, but
right.
You guys had too many receivers already. Okay. So Tasha, that must have been just an amazing experience, and I want to from there just kind of jump right into what you do now and talk a little bit about how important that is and how it applies to real estate agents. So we talked on the phone before about mindset first and foremost and how important that is. And I'd just love for you to take us through the importance of mindset in your training and your preparation with what you do. And then we could talk about how it applies to real estate.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think with mindset, it's something that I realized over time, and even some of it I realized after I was already retired, unfortunately. But when I reflected, I could see a pattern in how I was thinking and what was happening and manifesting into my experience. And so since I've realized that, I really can control, and we really can control through the way that we think, through the way that we feel, like, really more to the point, through the way that we feel, which is a growth of how we think. And that can really, really impact, if we are hunched over, I'm never going to be able to do this. I mean, come on, the likelihood of then being able to come out of that on the strong side of life,
I fixed my posture. Hold on a second.
Exactly. Sit up straight, young man. Right. But, and this is not just woo-woo, airy-fairy, positive thinking type stuff. This is stuff that now we actually have the technology to prove that thoughts are energy, right? And thoughts can actually create. And so if you study, say, someone like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has put a lot of years into the study of the mind, neuroscience, and all of those types of sciences, you don't have to take my word for it. But the main point is, even if you don't believe it, just try it, because you actually have nothing to lose. The actual positive is that it will work, but it takes some work. It's like anything else. It's like training. It's like learning how to become a real estate agent. It takes work, especially if you've already got some maybe negative programming that you kind of have to undo.
So, Tasha, that's interesting. Let me ask you a little more specific question, because in real estate, we as agents I tell agents all the time, we get beat down all the time. We hear no every day. We're lead generating. Everyone's saying no to us. We're getting rejected. So what do you do, if we can give some specifics to have that positive energy so that we can go out and do what we need to do every day?
Yes. And it's like reframing. For me, when I'm in a situation where I may be more beat up, maybe I have a season where I'm not winning all the time, I'm at the bottom of the barrel. When you switch from high school to freshman in college, or you switch from a junior to a senior rank, you always are starting from the bottom. So in a sense, I kind of see that as how it is in real estate, but every day. You guys are always competing, and you are always in a position where more often than not, probably you're hearing that no. And so the key is to reframe what that no means. Number one, it's not personal, right? So that's always something to put in perspective, because the mindset is perspective. You can see a situation. There's no situation that's good or bad necessarily. It's how we frame the situation. You can have someone who goes through a terrible experience, and from it they create massive organizations that help people, or someone who goes through a difficult same situation and they go inside themselves, they become depressed. So it's not the situation, it's how we see it. And so one of the things, like I said, is to reframe, to look at the no as not personal. Secondly, as a stepping stone to the yes. You're not going to get no's forever. It's just not possible. Just even if you play a game of odds, you're going to get the yes eventually. So you're seeing it as the no that you have to get out the way to eventually get to your yes, right? And so it's all about making everything as far as possible, everything that you're doing as far as your mind is concerned, good for you. Reframing everything. And, sometimes I'll even wear a rubber band. Like if my thinking has gone kind of sideways in a particular area, I'll wear a rubber band. And every time my thinking isn't in alignment with what I want to see happen, ping, because there is actual science to this stuff, and your brain has hardwired patterns. And in order to retrain it, you literally have to associate the negative with a painful experience and the positive with a joyful. So when I'm thinking good, I'm like, good job, Tasha. Exactly. That's right. You cheer you boost yourself up. You rally for yourself. You really, just make a big deal out of when you are thinking positively. But when you're not, you're like, oops, come on now. That's, and it's not easy. I'm not going to lie. There are some situations, especially if you've been doing it for a long time, where it's not easy to change, but it can change. So if you almost see it as a war, as a battle between what you want in your life, what you truly want to create, and what that little negative little thing on your shoulder is trying to stop you from creating. And it's the ego. We are hardwired. If you read anything by Mel Robbins, you'll learn that we are actually hardwired to protect ourselves. It's just our brains trying to protect ourselves from danger. So it might, our ego might see the no as, oh, that makes her feel bad. Let me, get her out of this profession. This is not for her. And all that type of thinking. It's not trying to harm you. It's actually trying to protect you. So we just have to retrain our minds to see it in the right way. That's the long way of saying it.
No, that was awesome. I love it. That's so cool. And Tasha, you talked a little bit about setbacks, earlier. And that's something I think, we experience a lot in real estate. I wanted to just ask you, in your career, what was a setback or maybe a potential failure that you had? And then how did you recover from that? Because this happens to real estate agents all the time. And that's so critical, what you said.
Right. Well, I mean, it sounds bad, but like when I had my son, that was technically a setback. It was technically bad timing.
I won't tell him you said that.
you know, right? You know, it was great to be your mom, but it was like the worst timing in my life. I was number 6 in the world. I was number 1 in my country. This is probably not a time to be starting a family. And so I had to, and let me just say, when that happened, it wasn't taken very well by my country, and it was a media, you know, a reason for the media to basically come down on me, and it didn't feel good. You know, I cried a lot, you know, and sometimes we have to allow ourselves that time to sort of release that energy. But then when all the dust had kind of settled, and I knew that I still had my family support, you know, although people in my field and in the media were saying, oh, well, this is the end of Tasha, we'll never. I just said to myself, you know, it's not up to them. You know, it's not up to them. So it's not always going to look right, but it's really, truly up to you. So if you have a setback, you can decide if this is it for you. It's nobody else's choice. It doesn't matter. Oh, if your parents are like, yeah, I told you so. Or your friend was like, told you that business was never going to work. Or, you know, and so says, well, I told you your area, you know, LA was hard. You know, that was a stupid idea. It doesn't matter what they say, right? Because people are doing it every day. People are defying the odds. You just simply make a decision that this is what you want to achieve, and you keep pushing towards it. Throughout the 2008 season, when I got my medal, literally the best and worst season of my entire life, right? The beginning of the season in April, this is the time where I'm supposed to go out onto the track and start, you know, really start rocking and rolling. Injury after injury, Achilles problem. I flew back to London from LA, got treatment. My first session back on the track, pulled my hamstring. Weeks after that, pulled my hamstring again. By the time I got to the Olympic trials, my season was just going so bad. But, you know, to cut a long story short, within 1 hour of it being released that I had been selected for the team, the head coach got 42 texts asking, why would you put her on the team? That's how badly I was running. But I refused to allow what it was presenting itself to me to define whether or not I could still achieve my dream. To me, there was still a possibility. And as long as there was a possibility, it was something I could shoot for. But up till that point, I had done the visual work. I had already seen it. I already see myself on the podium. I had already put the physical work in. So I put the physical, the emotional, because when I would visualize, I could actually feel myself there. So the idea of me not being at the Olympics and not being on a podium, I couldn't comprehend it. So that's kind of where you have to get yourself, because you are going to face setbacks. That's just life. You are going to have to overcome obstacles. That is just life. But being prepared for them, not getting yourself in this mode that is, oh, you're just going to sail through this real estate industry and you're just going to be a huge mogul and, you know, take over the world. Yeah, you could be. But there's going to be some challenges in that. And so if you can picture, if you take the time, even if it's 5 minutes every day, to really see yourself in the vision that you want to become, and don't just see about it. Oh, feel about it. What would it feel like? Who would you be hanging out with? How would you carry yourself? What would you be driving? Where would you go on holiday? Like, if you really take the time to see that, I'm telling you, and you do that consistently, science proves that that starts to rewire your brain, and you know, things start falling in place for that to happen. Energy, all of that good stuff. I could go on about quantum physics for the rest of my life, but I won't. But, you know, read about it, learn about it, because our mind is the most powerful tool we have, and it is also the most underused. If you could just tap into a little more percentage of your mind, the world is your oyster.
Wow, that is such awesome advice, Tasha. And I want to dive just a tiny bit deeper into what you said in terms of visualization and those kinds of things. Do you have a specific daily routine, maybe in the morning, like a set things that you do that you could recommend to real estate agents before they start their day?
So my morning routine ebbs and flows depending on what's going on in my life at the time. But there are some things that I always try to keep as consistent. So my first, I'm a spiritual person. So my first is prayer. I think there's a lot of power in prayer. So whatever your spiritual thing is, if you're Nichiren Daishonin, if it's Buddha, if it's Ikeda, if it's Jesus, if it's Allah, if it's a hadith, whatever it is that you follow, that you feel power from, that you feel energized by, that's what I would start with, right? And so that's where I begin. So I begin with prayer. I have a PowerPoint where I mix visual representations of scriptures, because that's how you activate scripture. The subconscious mind works with pictures. Mm-hmm. So just writing down, which is great. It's great to write down your goals, but just writing things down isn't enough. If we want to impress it upon our subconscious mind, we have to create a visual of it. So prayer, then I will go into visualization of the prayer or whatever it is I'm trying to achieve. I may also do some EFT, which is emotional freedom therapy. So tapping, that helps. And what else do I do?
Wait, Tasha, what is that? I'm not familiar with that. If you could expand a little more.
Emotional freedom therapy, if you look that up, guys, it's, you're tapping on certain meridians on your body, like here, and you're repeating different phrases that pertain to you. So I may say something like, I won't go into the long science behind it, but you can look it up. It's called emotional freedom therapy. Okay. And say, for example, I have to go and present a home to someone, and I'm really worried. It's a bigger deal than I've ever done, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I don't have any confidence. I would tap through that. So I might say, even though I think I'm going to suck at presenting this house to this home buyer, I still completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm probably going to really suck at presenting this house, I completely love and accept myself. You say that 3 times, and then you start going through the different meridians, the different points, and you score yourself before and after. So that's something that I try to do as well, because it helps release that energy. So that's one thing. And what else do I do? I would say, during that visualization part, that's really important. This is the part where it's really important to feel the experience. The mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's fake. It literally doesn't know. So if you put someone into a deep visualization state, you may see that like muscles twitching, and because the mind doesn't know that this is fake. I spoke to Sally Gunnell, who was the gold medalist in the 1992 Barcelona Olympics in my event. And I said to her, what was one of the best, things you did in preparation? She said all the way up to the Olympics, she saw herself in every lane. She would visualize herself in every lane. Lane 1. She'd do that 2 times. Lane 2, she'd do that every single day. She said, by the time I got to the Olympics, it was no big deal, because I felt like I'd been there already. And that's where you want to get to, because the event will arrive and you'll feel like you've been there. What you're experiencing now is a result of how you've been thinking before. So if you don't like what you see, change how you're thinking and feeling about your life. Right. And it's hard. It can be difficult, because it's like, hey, that bill is still due. It's hard not to be like, oh. But you got to remember that is a result of how you've been previously thinking, and you can change the future by how you think now.
Very interesting. So, such good stuff there. Now, Tasha, one thing you didn't talk about in like your daily routine, but I'm curious now that you're not, running professionally, what role does exercise and health still play for you? Obviously, you're in great shape, but I'm curious.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you asked this question. Because before, when I was still a full-time athlete, like when I was still 100% professional athlete, I used to hear people say, oh, I've gained so much weight, but I don't want to go to the gym after work. And I'd be like, what do you mean you don't want to go to the gym after work? Get your lazy self up. And now right. I have had a job, a typical job. I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym.
Right.
after work. So it's a lot easier said than done. And I apologize to anybody I said that to. So yes, it still still does play a really big part in my process. It is a challenge because my schedule is different. I don't have a full day where I can just go train, take a nap, go to the weight room, da 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 da. I have to try and fit it in, squeeze it in, and sometimes quite frankly, I'm exhausted. So the best thing to do in that situation is try and manage. Okay, here I can do a lot. Here I probably won't do anything, and kind of get a rhythm that matches what I'm doing. But it is important, and I think it's important for everyone because there's chemicals that are released when you exercise that make life more enjoyable, and it's kind of a big cycle. How you eat affects how you feel. How you feel affects whether you want to work out, whether you want to work out. The chemicals that come off that affect how you feel during the day. So it's like this cycle. And if anything piece is missing, it can really affect how you feel. But a lot of people don't know the difference between feeling crappy and feeling really awesome until they make those real changes. And for me, I let myself go for a while there, and I instantly saw the fabulous results of not working out. So I have been making sure that I continue to make that an important part of my schedule. I must say that when as an athlete, you don't realize how hard you were training. So when you stop, it's like, oh, okay, that's why these pounds came on so quickly, because the level is just completely different. But yeah, I say, keep active. It's easier to keep it than it is to try and get it back. So even if you're doing a little bit a day, it is very important.
I tell my 11-year-old all the time because he plays basketball, and he'll have like 2 cheeseburgers and a milkshake and 2 fries, and I'm like, enjoy it, because
Right.
when you're done, you can't
Your
do
day's
that.
coming, baby. Your day's coming.
That's right. That's right. So, Tasha, one of the questions that I had before our interview from some of the folks on Instagram and Facebook and other places, who are real estate agents, they were saying, okay, how do I get started? Because I told them what we were going to be talking about. And they said,
Yeah.
if I've never done it, how do I get started with, visualization and getting ready and training like an athlete and mixing in exercise? A lot of them were like, this is so overwhelming, I don't even know where to begin. What would you say to someone like that?
That's some of the stuff I coach people on, and it can be challenging, but I always want to start by looking at your overall schedule, looking at your overall life, and trying to create balance. Life is all about balance. Life is all about keeping things in a nice, enjoyable rhythm, which can be really challenging because competition is so fierce. You can find yourself working 100 hours a week without even just very easily. And so it's important to create that balance. So my first step would be to say, okay, what does my schedule look like, and what is it that I want to accomplish? Okay, I want to start visualizing. All right, so I get up at 5. Could I get up at 4:50? Yeah, I could get up at 4:50.
You're
Right.
talking to real estate agents. Hold on. We get up at 10.
Son of a gun.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm so jealous. All right. So, could we get up at 9:30?
That's right.
Absolutely. Right. And there are a lot of really good visualization videos out there on YouTube. There's a lot of brainwave technology that will help reprogram your mind while you're sleeping, while you're driving. So you can use those as well. So a good place to start is just implementing a new habit gradually, right? So if you're new to everything, I would just pick one thing at first and try and get that under your belt. They say it takes 28 days to form a habit, but I've actually heard from Dr. A that Dr. Thomas Anderson that it actually takes 66 days. So again, what I said before is that you have to almost get in a fight with yourself for yourself, because now you're used to getting up at 10, and now you're asking yourself to get up at 9:30, but 10 is a habit. right? And the habits aren't just willy-nilly. The reason why they're so hard to break is because they are hardwired program into your neural pathways, into your brain. So in order to fight those, you have to really push to create a new habit. You have to say to yourself, look, okay, I'm ready for something new, right? So you get up at 9:30 and you pick a visualization. You can contact me. I can send you, ones that I think are good, or direct you to people that I think do great visualizations. And that would be a great place to start. And then you can just add things like affirmations as you get confident with that. Your meditations. There's lots of things that you can do to start heading in that great mindset. I call it the masterful mindset. I've actually just started an Instagram page that is just positive quotes of the masterful mindset, because I think it's so important to master your mindset, and it takes work. So yeah, that would be where I would start. Start small and baby steps and build, just like a house.
That's right. That's right. No, such good
I know
advice, Tasha.
technology, you could probably just plonk it there now, but it
Not
starts with
yet.
the foundation and you build on it.
Still need people for sure. Tasha, such great advice. Speaking of getting in touch with you, just wanted to see like if someone's watching this and they're like, man, I love this and I want to learn more and get more connected. What's the best way to connect with you? Whether that's, and we'll put all the links below, but if someone's
Yes.
watching social media or
Actually,
otherwise.
the best place to get hold of me is www.tasha, Tasha, 360.com. So www.tasha360.com. All of my social media is there. So if
Awesome.
you click on that website, you can access my LinkedIn, my Instagram, Facebook, and my websites are in the upper right-hand corner. And I actually did that branding through a great friend of mine called Ray Perez, who I'd love to introduce you to, by the way.
Sure. That'd be great.
And, it's great. So if you want to get a hold of me, just go there and you can find email, phone number, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, website.
Perfect.
And it's very easy.
That's easy to remember, Tasha 360. And we'll put the link in the comments below for wherever you are digesting this content, watching it or listening to it. So, all right, Tasha. So we've talked about, visualization, preparation, all this fun stuff, schedule, routines. Now what I want to talk to you about, because, I think a lot of this stuff, and we talked about this, a lot of this stuff is easy to do once or twice. But what I want to talk about is here's the question I have, the $1 million question. How do you really create lasting results, transformational results that continue for a long period of time?
Right, exactly. Like I spoke about when we had our quick chat the other day. Lasting results is what I'm about. We all can go to that great speech or that great seminar and get rah-rahed up for a good week. And then it's back to regular life. And it's not our fault. It's because regular life is the most consistent thing we have, right? We got the same boss annoying us. We got the same colleague that won't stop burping or whatever. So we continue to have our regular reactions to our environment. It's our environment. Maybe you're trying to get healthier. Maybe you're trying to get in shape, but your partner has no interest. So they keep bringing all the snacks in and all the junk. And so one of the things that I have found helpful, because it was my life, I was a professional athlete for 20 years, is being coached. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what I do for people. I coach them to lasting change, because, one of the things that I found is, and this is why diets don't often work and why people who go on diets usually end up weighing more than when they did when they went on a diet, is because it's not something that's actually it's not something you're actually able to do for a long time. There's no longevity to it. You hate Zumba, but you've decided, for a month, as soon as that month is done, you're going to stop doing Zumba. You're going to go back to your regular sedentary, routine. And so it's important, as you're making life changes, to implement things that you actually know and believe you can keep up. And so even like when I've had people who really struggled with nutrition, I would start with, hey, let's just take one day where you add more veg. Just one day. That's easy. Do that for a month, then start adding a couple days. And they're like, oh, you know what? Actually, that day I felt really good. My energy was up. So now you're inspired to do it more. right? And so that's kind of the way I do it. But for me, the accountability piece is
Mm.
huge. I don't know about for anybody else. There are some people who are super self motivated, but from my experience, when you have habits that have not been serving you, the best way to start to move those in a different direction is to have accountability. When you are, even me, when I was at the peak of my career, I'm the one that wanted to be on the Olympic podium. There were days I would go to the track. I was in England. My coach was in LA. It was just me, nobody else at the track. It was dreary. It was London. And my coach had given me 300 to do. And I got there and I was like, all right, maybe I'll just do three. Right. So then I start warming up. I'm like, maybe I'll just do one. Finish my warm up. And I was like, I think I'm just going to warm up today. Right. Because I didn't have that accountability there. Right. Because in that
Right.
moment, that's what my preference was. And we're all human. Even if it's our own dream, we can slack off on it. Right. But I tell you what, if I'm part of a mastermind group, which I'm actually creating one for women, if I'm part of a mastermind group and I know that on the weekend, we're going to get together and everyone's going to be talking about what they accomplished for the week. I don't want to be the only suck that hasn't achieved anything, right? If you know someone's checking in on you, you're way more likely to make, oh God, you know what? My accountability partner is going to be checking on. I've got to make sure I get it done. And that's why it's wise to pick someone who really cares about your success and he's not going to baby you. They're really going to say, listen, you said you wanted to achieve this. What's going on? Let's get this done. They're really going to hold you accountable and not be like, you can't pick your mom. It's okay, sweetie. You'll get it right next week. You can't do that. You got to pick someone who's really, and you can work with them too. Ask them if, there's something that you can help them with or hold them accountable for. So those are really the pieces that I think will help instill change. And just when you begin, you may falter, but don't let that be a reason to start downing on yourself. That is normal. That is your ego trying to get you back to the good old comfortable way of living, right? So use that as a springboard. Say, okay, I was consistent for 2 days. I'm going to be consistent for 4 now. And the next thing you know, it's just the way you live. But you got to work at it.
Yeah, and Tasha, it's so interesting for me to hear you say, here's like an Olympic, medalist saying that if you don't have that coach right there, you don't want to do it either. Because, a lot of times real estate agents will tell me, oh, some people, they just want to do it every day. And I'm like, no, like there are those people are not, no one wants to do it.
Right. And I think that's the thing that makes people not speak up and ask for help is because there's this thing that, oh, you're going to be strong. And if you really wanted this, you would motivate yourself. It's not human nature. We're not wired that way. Our brains do not want to do anything that it feels is a threat or makes us uncomfortable. And so it will do everything it can to try to get you back to what's comfortable. Read Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule, right? If you're struggling in that area, that's a great book for that. But it will show you the science behind why it's so difficult to change habits like that and why it's so easy, even as an Olympian, to go to the track and want to do the easiest thing, even though that's my dream. Hello, right? And so don't let, especially with social media these days, everything's so glamorous. Everyone's so fantastic. But the reality is behind that, everyone's so human, right? And we all have our struggles and we all have our challenges. And once we can all just admit to each other, sometimes I don't want to get up and do this, right? Sometimes I don't believe in myself. Sometimes I just want to pack the whole thing in and, just do something else. Once we can admit that to each other, we can start helping each other. Well, what are you struggling with? How can I support you in that? Right? Yours is confidence. Hey, listen, I know a great coach who's great with confidence. I'm going to connect you guys. You're not believing that this is possible for you. Your energy is low because you've been working so hard and you've fallen off your way. I know fitness trainer and a mindset trainer that you can work with. Let's get you guys connected. But we're too busy pretending we got our together to
Yeah.
to actually be able to support each other. It's not realistic to say that you're not going to have those moments. It's just human nature. And that's what I realized afterwards. Stop trying to be a superhero, because superhero sent me into a depression state to the point
Mm.
of being suicidal during my career. And then once I learned about my own experience, I learned about many other athletes, through the doctors that I was speaking to, the gold medalists, world record holders who had been through severe depression and on
Hmm.
antidepressants during Olympic Games. What is this telling you? No one's telling the truth about how they really feel. So we got to just really open up and allow ourselves to be honest with ourselves so that we can start making those lifelong, lasting transformations, right?
Yeah. For sure, Tasha. So, I mean, this is so great, and that's where a good coach and accountability partner would come in, because when you're having those times, they can be there to support you and hold you accountable, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, a great coach knows when to push and when to pull and when to, support. And a lot of good coaching is not telling you what to do. It's helping you, figure it out for yourself. It's helping you grow in yourself, rather than, oh, you should go do this now. You should go do that. You work together to find your best self. The best coaches I know have coaches,
Yes.
top people in the world. Tony Robbins has coaches. Brendan Burchard has coaches. Oprah has coaches. All these people have coaches, and people see them as, oh, no, you're at the top. There is no top. Everybody
That's
needs
right.
somebody. Sounds like a kumbaya song, but it's true.
Well, Tasha, it's so interesting to me because, when I interview top performers in any industry, real estate, sports, whatever it is, the best people have coaches. And then yet some of the folks who, aren't there will say, oh, I don't need a coach, or I can do it myself, or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
just not realistic, like you said.
Yeah. And the thing is, there are many people who can achieve something without a coach, but I feel like there's always something I can learn from someone else, right? As great as I got at the hurdles, I always feel like there's something I can learn. As great as I could ever be in my profession as a coach myself, I always feel like there's something to learn from somebody else. And if you spend enough time talking to others and, being coached, you'll be like, oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I didn't think of that. But you don't expose yourself to those opportunities if you feel like you're already on the top of the totem pole.
Yeah, no, it's such good stuff. So Tasha, I mean, I've taken like a bunch of notes here, and for me, what I'm hearing is, all the daily routines and the visualization, to change those habits, and there really is a science behind that, and then
Yeah,
have an accountability partner or a coach to make sure you get kind of
yeah,
transformational results. Question
yes.
I have for you now, when you coach people and stuff like that, what is, maybe one or two more kind of tidbits or secrets to success that we may not have covered, that someone who is in, especially real estate, but really any profession,
Yeah.
should know?
I think the first thing is, don't expect the ride to be perfect, right? Expect that you will fail. It's possible that you may fail at it, but you just get back up and continue
Mm.
going on. Um, be open to getting outside of yourself and getting out of your own way. A lot of times, sometimes when a lot of times, sometimes that's cool. When you're working with people, they are so stuck on a particular thing or a particular way of doing things that they can't get out of their own way. Get out your own. Oh, I don't do. I don't travel to Los Angeles, or I'm not a person who drinks water. Sometimes just say, okay, I'm going to be open to a different possibility. Maybe I'll try Los Angeles. Maybe the experience I had there before wasn't all there is to know about it. So the key is having that initial vision of what you want. What is it that you would do if, money was no object, time was no object, contacts were no object? What is it that you would want to create in your life, right? And put that vision out there as possible, because other people have done it. And they're honestly no different from you. We like to look at people's upbringings, but if you look at some of the people who have done the most in the world, they had the worst upbringings. Richard Branson, Oprah, these people did not have a silver spoon in their mouth. They came from nothing. So if there's something that you want to create for your life, you can do it, but you first must have the vision. Once you have the vision, then you can create the environment to start matching that through visualization, through meditation, through prayer, through accountability, through coaching, right? But number one, you got to be consistent. You got to stick at it. You may drop off, you get back up. Just be consistent, and that's my word for 2020. That I've talking to my people, my fans as well, and asking them to come up with a word for the new year, because it's 2020 vision. You should have a vision, right?
Right.
But for me in order to make my visions happen, I realized that one of the areas I need to work on is consistency. For someone else, it might be joy. Maybe you're miserable all the time, or, whatever it is for you, come up with that word, come up with a vision to match, and let's do it.
I love that, Tasha. Such good stuff. I mean, this is just amazing. I want to thank you again for being on the show. Before we wrap up, I have a lightning round of questions that I want to ask you, so that everyone can get to know you a little bit better and kind of hear what makes you tick a little bit more. You weren't prepped for these, by the way. They're fun. They're fun. So the rules of the lightning round are: it's a total lightning round. You can answer with whatever comes to mind first. You don't need to give us an explanation. It's just a lot of fun, or you can. So
you're treading on dangerous ground there. You don't know me.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's all right. It's just live or wherever.
Yeah, I know. It's easy.
All right. So you ready for the lightning round, Tasha?
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. So first question, I can probably answer this one, but it might be something different. What is your superpower now? Not back then.
Superpower. I'm a unicorn, so I can sprinkle glitter on people.
Love it. Cool.
Make things happen.
Okay, so you told us earlier that you didn't grow up dreaming about being an Olympian. So when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an actress, actually. Wow, okay. Yeah, cool. And there's still time.
There, of course. There for sure.
The weird thing is, why I didn't go into that? Because where I grew up in England, I didn't see Black people on TV. So I said, okay, well, that's not going to amount to anything. So I picked sport. Worked out.
Interesting. Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I'd like to be a gladiator, but they don't have that show on anymore. That would be awesome.
That's a good show. Yeah.
If not, I might do American Ninja Warrior, like become a serial person. But I have always loved to dance. So I would have loved to have been a dancer. I tried a dance class once, but I guess I'm a freestyle dancer because all this 1 and 2, and I was like stepping on everyone's feet. So I stopped that.
And what profession would you never like to try? Or would you not like to do?
Never like to try. I have to say maybe like a janitor where you have to clean up toilets.
Not your strong suit.
Not my strong suit.
All right. Gotcha.
God bless them, because oh my gosh, I've seen some things in my time.
Yeah, I'm sure. What's your favorite restaurant or type of food?
Well, I'm Jamaican, so my parents are Jamaican, so I do love Jamaican food. But being here in America for the last 22, 23 years, I've been exposed to obviously Mexican food, so I do love that as well.
Very cool. One of the best, I'll tell you, a side note, one of the best vacations we ever took, my wife and I, after we went to law school, and then after we passed the bar, we went to Jamaica for a week, and we had the best time ever. It's so much fun. We want to take our kids back and go.
Oh yeah, you got to. Beautiful.
Yeah, we had such a good time. Okay, who is your favorite musician or type of music?
I love Amy Winehouse. She was just so amazing. But I like all kinds of music, to be honest with you. Rock, Prodigy, Linkin Park, rap. I love it. I love a lot of stuff. So my major at USC was actually music industry.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I'll be performing on the 1st in Laguna. Reggae music, actually. Yeah.
All right, cool. Send us the link. We'll put it in the comments.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That'd be fun. Very cool. There was a good documentary, by the way, on Amy Winehouse on Netflix. Did you see it?
Oh, yes. Yes, I
Yeah,
did
it's
see
really
that.
good.
And I went to see the one in the movies as well.
Okay. Yeah, that was really good. All
Yeah.
right. Lightning round continues. What is your idea of a perfect vacation?
Perfect vacation, I've got to say, would involve a cruise, and it would probably involve quite a few stops in the Caribbean.
Nice. Very cool. We love cruises, taking the kids next year. So those are really good.
Man, I need
Okay.
to. Can you adopt me? There's a lot going on with your
A
kids.
lot of
I'm
vacation.
coming.
I mean, it's kid stuff nonstop over here.
Right.
Okay. What car best embodies your personality?
Ooh, I really want that Jeep Trackhawk. Oh my God, it's so
Oh,
good.
that's good.
Um, but I love a nice fast Jaguar. You
All
know what I
right.
mean? Quick and sleek.
Love it. Love it. Okay. What natural gift that you don't have would you most like to possess?
Um, I always feel like I'm not naturally business savvy. My mum is like, she literally goes from country to country and she'll just start a business, pop up, people are coming, and it's just like, I'll be struggling to figure out how to put one business up for a whole year, you know what I mean? And she'll literally in a week, oh yeah, I've started my business, people are coming. I'm like, what? So I'd love to have that natural business savvy suave, but then, you know, I get help from mentors and coaches to enhance those areas that I don't feel like I'm strong at.
I was going to say you can get a coach for that side of things, and that's
Yes.
always
Yeah.
works. So
Yeah. Yeah.
good stuff. All right, last lightning round question. What is your idea of happiness?
You know what? Living my purpose on purpose. That to me, like just knowing what I'm here on this planet to do and living it daily, being able to wake up and be excited about the day ahead, feeling like I'm actually making a difference in a big way. I've made differences in like, worked with people one on one and things like that. But I definitely want to I love when I do a speech and there's like 3,000 people in the audience and I get to talk to them afterwards and we get to just, that feeling is amazing. So for me, happiness is just being in love with life, and I feel like that's different for everybody, and but whatever that is for you, strive your best to live it. Life is, you're not supposed to just go from day to day existing. Life is for living. There's no reason to just settle. So I just encourage everybody to really soul search as this new year comes in for 2020, and get clear about really what it is you want to do, and don't sell yourself short. If there's something you want to do and you're not doing it, if you're not happy, they say 70% of Americans are not happy with their lives. If you're not happy, let's figure out how to get happy.
I love it, Tasha. Such good stuff. And I have to tell you, this has just been so amazing. I want to thank you for being on the show and sharing your wisdom and your experiences. And congratulations on everything you've achieved. And I know from what I've heard, you will be amazingly successful at anything that you set out to do. So
Well,
this
it's
is
been an honor. I really appreciate you having me. And I just hope that, maybe something I've said has helped somebody.
Yeah, good stuff. And we'll put all the links to everything Tasha related in the description for wherever you're watching this. So check that out. If you want to reach out to Tasha, please, by all means, go ahead. I'm sure she can help you with so many different areas of what you're doing. And I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. So Tasha, thanks so much.
Thank
Till we
you.
meet next time. Thank you. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Bye, everyone.